All right, welcome to the Computer Music 1, our first online live session. We're using GoToTraining, which is UAB's approved virtual classroom device. This is really good, actually. They had one called Collaborate, which was horrible. Then I bought my own subscription to a different vendor, and I used that last year. WebEx, and it's a really robust program. And GoToMeeting and GoToTraining is just about as robust, and now the university has bought it. So this is terrific. Hopefully it was easy. We have four people attending virtually, and we have Sarah, who's attending in person. Sarah's going to say hi.
Hi.
Hey, do any of you people attending virtually have webcams hooked up? If you want, and you want to chime in and say hello, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just say hi.
Hey.
You'll also notice that, and I think in the recording you'll be able to see the chat window, so you'll also notice that people are able to respond and talk in the chat. So, welcome to the class. I'm Dr. Phillips. I've spent the last 7 years teaching music technology here at UAB. I teach this class, Computer Music 1, and about 3 or 4 years ago, we made it an online class, which is terrific because now it's available for people who are not only music majors, but also non-majors. And so this semester, we have 48 students currently enrolled in the class, and of those students, there are probably 20 or so who are music majors, like Sarah is, and 30 or so, almost that many, 28, who are not music majors, which is really cool because we have students who are computer science majors and communications. Chris, you're a communications major, right? And we have lots of students from all around campus being able to take this. So hopefully you have found the Canvas site. You should see this pulled up right here, and this is what your view should look like, the student view. I don't know if it gives you the full screen. I'm going to try and make my screen a little bigger so that hopefully in the production, there we go. You can see the whole screen. You'll notice that we have a home button on the left, syllabus, announcements, documents, assignments, quizzes, grades, the virtual classroom, and the ProctorU. Don't worry about that ProctorU right now. They're testing something out here at the university that we may or may not participate in this semester. Also, you'll find on the front page announcements, discussions, assignments, quizzes. So these are just links to those places. And if you're a first-year student, this may be your introduction to Canvas, although some high schools are now using this. In fact, my son over at Hoover High School is a senior, and he's been using Canvas for the last couple of years in his classes. It's pretty easy to get around, and you can find this online live using the virtual classroom button, and when you click on that, it will take you to GoToMeeting and so forth. And it will have you log in again, and then you can get into the meetings. Also, I think I want to start by going to the syllabus. From my first email, it looks like most people have gotten already familiar with the course. I think we probably have 40 people who've already completed the first discussion. Maybe 10 have already completed the second discussion, which is cool. And this semester, I'm trying something different. Usually, I will, about a week or two in advance, I'll make the assignments available. But this semester, I just have the whole semester available. So you can literally complete any assignments anytime during the semester. Some of them you won't be prepared to do yet. But there are certain ones, especially things like the discussions and things like the nano projects, that you can really do at any time. The instructions are there on the web, and so when you get a chance, you can take care of those. The one thing you can't do is you can't take the quizzes online at any time you want, because they only become available about 30 hours before they're due. So on the Tuesday before the quizzes are due, and the quizzes are all due on Wednesdays at midnight, on the Tuesday, they'll become available. I'm getting ahead of myself if you haven't looked over the syllabus at this point, because you may not know about all the nano projects and discussions and quizzes and so forth. So let's review the syllabus just quickly. Again, these online live meetings will be available for you to attend every week. And during these meetings, I'll prepare students for the activities of that week. I may lecture or add additional material on topics that will be in the upcoming quizzes. And I'll probably review and give you demonstrations of, for example, how to use Garageband to complete various assignments. And so while you could take this entire course without me, hopefully my presence will be helpful along the way. And if you can't attend, because a lot of students have class on Wednesdays at 11, if you can't attend, then we record these and we will post them on the site for students to watch after the fact. But it is fun, and I would always love to have as many students who can attend in person as possible to join us each week at 11. So, reviewing the syllabus, this course is to introduce you to the technologies associated with music. Before we got started, Sarah said, so wait, what do we really do in music technology? So anything, most of us interact with music through technology all the time, whether it's MP3 players or even recording music or participating, performing. Anytime you've been to a concert, of course, there's loads of technology that is involved in a live show. If you go to a church that has a rock band or that has a praise band, they're using technology there. And so in music technology, we study how to do all of that stuff. So recording, sequencing, which is a matter of taking musical elements and kind of putting them together. We're going to talk about MIDI, which is an electronic way to make music that was really around a long time before we had the ability to record audio. And we'll also talk a little bit, we'll start by introducing how sound works and how sound waves are described, and then how they're digitized, and then how they end up in the computer. So the first part of the course, to give you kind of the lay of the land, we're going to spend the first maybe 6 weeks studying out of a couple of textbooks. Primarily, we will use, so I can see what's in the picture. We'll use this book. Now, this is the second edition. Here's the first edition. And as you saw from my introduction video, if you watched that, you can use either one. They're very similar. And when we're discussing a chapter, I'll say, hey, so this is on page 36 in edition 2 and on page 34 in edition 1. You can use either version of the book. It hasn't changed much. And Dan's a friend of mine, and he said, yeah, sure, you can use either version. We will use the book for the first part of the semester, and we'll do some book learning. It's not as fun as making music, but it is important to give us a foundation. So after we've done the book learning, then we will start to do projects. And I've moved even the first nano project, which is creating a loop-based project in Garageband. I've moved that up in the semester, so you get to start making music pretty soon into the semester. As the semester moves on, then we move to more and more just project-based learning. So you'll do a project where you create a project out of pre-recorded musical loops. You'll do a project where you make a song based on MIDI. You will. Hey, I just noticed that Zach joined us. Zach, we were getting a little scratching sound from your microphone, so I've muted you. But glad to have you here, Zach. Anybody else join us, Sarah, that we didn't notice? No, it looks like the same people. Okay, so we'll do a project where we take some MIDI, some computerized data, and make music out of that. If you are a music major, you will participate in a notation project. And if you're not a music major, you can do the notation project, but you have the option to do a term project for the term paper. For the term paper, you'll compare some different careers in this book, Beyond Sound, our other textbook. We'll use this for our fourth quiz, some information about developing careers, and then specifically, you'll write a term paper if you are not a music major and would like to do that instead of doing the notation project. The reason the music major part is important is because music majors really need to learn how to do electronic notation, how to create music notation in the computer. And if you're not a music major and you don't read music, that can be very challenging because it's a whole nother language. Now, I have had students in the past who were not music majors, who didn't read music, who literally learned to read music doing this project. So if you want to do that, that's tremendous. But you have the option of the term paper. And then as we get to the end of the semester, the final project is going to be something of your choosing, where you can decide what projects during the semester you liked, and you get to create one of your own for the final. There's no final exam per se. We'll have 4 quizzes that are pretty traditional. They're online, multiple choice, and then we'll have multiple choice or fill in the answers. And then we'll have these various projects, and then the final project which is not a test or a quiz, but just a project that you will turn in. Okay, so that gives you a little bit about the course. Did I kind of answer your question, Sarah?
Yes.
Good, about what music technology is and what we're going to study. Um, so requirements for the class include participating in the online environment. That means turning in your homework, doing your discussions, and even though it's not required, I would encourage you to read discussions, responses that other people have written, because you can kind of get to know people and so forth. Hopefully you've started to do that, maybe started to get to know some of the people in the class already, because discussion one, we talk about ourselves and tell people who we are. You need to complete your work on time to get the full points for the assignment. Usually if somebody is late on an assignment, I will allow them later to make it up, but they can only earn up to half of the original credit. I encourage you to get everything done, but if something happens and you get in a situation, we can work with that. And then in the syllabus, it talks about our various projects. So I would require you, in terms of required materials, to have a good set of headphones. Now, if you are a music major and specifically considering being a music technology major, this is your perfect excuse to go to mom and dad and say, and that's why it's under required in the syllabus, to go to mom and dad and say, oh, I'm required. I only have to buy this is a $25 book, and I think this is maybe $40. So it's not too expensive. If you're in an anatomy class, the textbook is $350. So say, look, my textbooks aren't that expensive, but I'm required to get a nice pair of headphones that cost between $50 and $100. That's your excuse to go out and buy that nice pair of headphones you've been wanting to get. And when I say nice pair, you want to get a good pair of studio type headphones, or what they're called reference monitor headphones, and so forth. There's a lot of different varieties. Now, if you are not a music major, or specifically not a music technology major, and you have a decent set of headphones, that's fine. You can use those. You can even use earbuds and so forth to do your projects, and that will be fine. Software, if you're here on campus, which many of you are, you'll have access to the lab, and you can go to room 317 in the Halsey Recital Hall. If you go to the second floor of the recital hall, the second floor of Halsey building, I said recital hall. Let me clarify. If you go to the second floor of the Halsey building, you can find the main office, and your name is on a list, and they will give you a code to room 317, which is on the third floor of the Halsey building. That is our music technology lab. The second assignment, which is due this Friday before midnight, is for you to go check out the lab. So if you are living on campus, that's easy. If you're a little farther away from campus, take some point during the week to stop by campus and check out the lab. Make sure that you are able to get a code from the office. They're there from 8 to 5. Leah is very kind and lovely, and she will give you a code to that room. Each student has their own access code. We'll talk a little bit more about the lab in a second. Okay? Online live help is the next thing on the syllabus. And wait, sorry, back up. I didn't explain about the software. So if you have access to the lab, you can do all of the projects in the lab, and you don't need to buy any software. If you don't have access to the lab, or you don't want to come to school to work on your projects, you can use Garageband, which is a program that comes free on a Macintosh computer if you have a Macintosh, or you can purchase Mixcraft, which is available for about $75 for the PC, and it's very similar. I will be training students and giving demonstrations on how to use GarageBand, and especially the version of GarageBand that's in the lab. If you get a new Macintosh computer, your version might be a little bit different, and that's okay. And if you have Mixcraft, it will be a little different as well, so the interactions will be different, but it won't be hard for you to do that. Okay, online live help, we already talked about that. We talked about the texts. I've talked a little bit about the lab. You have your own access code to that lab. There's a door on the front that has a coded button. You put your buttons in, and we can keep track of who's there and when they're there. That's helpful because and it protects you, because if something disappears from the lab, we can go in and see who was in the lab at the time it disappeared. Also, there's 3 cameras in the ceiling. That helps. We, in the 8 years I've been here, have never lost anything from the music technology lab. It's very secure, and we have it set up in such a way that students have access to it 24/7, which we think is terrific. A lot of people who do music, who do recording, they just get cooking after midnight, and so that's cool if you want to go in and work in there. If you are by yourself, I recommend that you be careful, and because we are an urban campus, and if you go there at night by yourself, somebody knocks on the door, just don't answer the door. Just stay in there and work. Anybody who needs to be in that lab should have their own code. I also just recommend that you be with another person if you're going to be there late at night. You will have access to that lab and all the software there. Please don't bring food or drink, and please keep your eyes out for um, any unusual activity. Our best security for that lab really is the students who are in the classes. They take very good care of it, and I hope you guys will do the same. All right, there's some information about the early alert system, which if you start falling behind or disappearing off the face of the earth, a few weeks into the semester, I'll check up on you. If you're a new student, that might surprise you, might be surprising, but we're not gonna get in your face, but we're just gonna send you an email that says, hey, haven't seen you for a while, you haven't turned in any assignments or whatever. And then some information with students with disabilities. If you have a file with the Disability Services Office, they'll be in contact with me, and you and I will discuss what accommodations are appropriate to help you be successful in the class. All right, you can see our topic, activities, and so forth on the schedule. And I encourage you. So one of the challenges, and some people have already written about this, one of the challenges with an online class is you kind of forget about it, right? If you're not careful, it's easy to log in and say, oh, I'm good for a couple of weeks on that, or I'm good for a couple of days, and then you kind of forget about it, and then a week passes and so forth. So what I recommend you do is take the calendar, and I've put it together in several ways on the syllabus. Take the calendar and write in your schedule when things are due and what's going on. Work ahead of the schedule, and you shouldn't have any problem whatsoever succeeding in the class. So that takes care of the syllabus, that takes care of the schedule, and we are at 11:31. So for those who are joining us live, online and live in person, I have worn out my welcome. So thanks for being here. I hope to see you next Wednesday. On our radar coming up, we have the first discussion, which is due introducing yourself before midnight tonight, and then next Friday, this Friday, your assignment is to go to the lab. In fact, let's look right here and see what else we have going on. Next Wednesday before midnight, quiz 1 will be due. I didn't talk about the content for quiz 1, so it's possible that I will record a lecture before then and post it online, so that if there's any information that may cause people trouble, I'll kind of give you some information. Then if people have questions, next Wednesday is the perfect time during our live online session to ask questions before you take the quiz. I will also be posting a video about how to take the quizzes. There is, I guess let me take one more minute and tell you how the quizzes work. Quizzes range from 20 to 30 questions. Most of them are fill in the blank, and some of them are multiple choice and matching. You will have an hour to take each quiz, and you can take each quiz twice. The better of the two scores is the one we will keep. The quizzes are open book and open note, and what I recommend, because they're open for about 36 hours, is that what you do is you start early in that 36-hour window and take the quiz. And well, first you study. Yes, you read the book and study, and then you take the quiz. And if there's something that you got stuck on or you didn't understand, review, study that again, and then take the quiz a second time. What I find is that the determining factor of how well you will do on the quizzes is just simply how much dedication and time you put into them, because the students who are willing to take the quiz twice, almost all get A's on all the quizzes. And some of the students who just don't have the time, or they wait until 11:45 on Wednesday night to take the quiz for the first time, they're going to come across something that may be unfamiliar with it to them, and they've just shot themselves in the foot. So I hope you won't do that. I hope you'll take advantage of that. And like I said, there will be a separate video which I will post probably in the announcements page that simply, this is how to take the quiz, and I'll walk you through that process. So thanks to all of you for joining us, and I hope those of you who are watching the recording enjoyed as well. And if you see me on campus, by the way, I didn't go over my contact information. My office is here right now in the Center for Teaching and Learning, just across from the music building. I also have an office in the music building, but I'm not there in that office very often. Stop by, say, hey, I'm in your online class, and I'd appreciate that. So good luck, and contact me if you have any questions.